Slacktail Squad, assemble.
Tremendous. I like that.
Tremendous,
Make
yeah.
sure that you are speaking directly into the microphone. You know what I mean?
Yes. Does that sound better?
Oh,
Sure.
immensely.
Sure.
Good.
So
It's like
what
butter
kind
to
of
the
cap
ears.
would you wear, Ron's, to cover up your bald spot?
Well, you cover yours up pretty good, so I'd say whatever wig you use.
Hilarious. I said
Hilarious.
cap, dum-dum.
Oh,
You said,
well,
and I was directly repeating what you said, that you were going to wear a cap to cover up your bald spot.
probably a bald cap or
I feel like you probably want a mushroom cap
a
on
mushroom.
your head. Pretty sure you
He
want a
does.
mushroom cap on your head.
Why is
That would be my guess.
Oh, okay.
Or a mushroom stamp on his head.
There you go. So, what's the difference between a ball hat or a ball cap? I mean, I thought they were one and the same.
Nobody said they were different.
Yeah. Nobody said anything about that. This is the Slaptail Squad, and if you are listening, you are a member of the great Slaptail Nation. And I am the Beaveman, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small. Great like my love of comedy, and small like my tolerance for those who try to fucking squash it. Keep that in mind. With us today is my number 2, live from the tent on this wonderful Friday afternoon. Looking blurry, looking like he's probably writing some sort of a letter where he's cutting out words and letters from a magazine, a newspaper, plastering them on a piece of paper, and mailing a package. The Rons.
Hey, how you doing, Beaveman?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Rons. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Also with us today is the Swan. Say hello, Swan.
Hello, Swan.
Fantastic. Nicely done.
Thanks.
You are welcome. Also with us, looking svelte, got his contrasting colors going on there. Sexual chocolate. Are you tired?
No.
You tired there, Cubby? You tired?
Am I tired?
He was about to yawn. I could tell.
Oh no, I was getting ready to say my hello speech.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I was distracted by
He's not done
Ron's
it with your
making lots of kind of
introduction.
noise. Also with us is Sexual Chocolate, our own personal pudding pop, Tremande.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Tremande.
Or I think I may have to stop saying ladies and gentlemen because not everyone identifies as ladies and gentlemen.
You could broaden it out and just make it. Just how about everyone?
Just everyone. Yeah, I saw like recently, like Disney, like they did a thing of expanding their like LGBTQ plus characters, and one of the things that they said they're going to do to shift how they address people as ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, they're going to now refer to them as dreamers and friends. Which I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh. All right. So you're going to change it up. You're going to change it up. That's your plan.
Yeah, I'm just going to start saying hi, person with the face.
Any human.
What if they don't identify as having a face?
And that's the thing. Like how far? I wonder how far is this going to go? Like, are people going to start to identify as animals, and then want to be?
Don't they already do that?
Yeah, don't they already do that?
Isn't that already a thing?
Yeah, but I feel like it's like a thing in like a sexual nature. I know, like there's like the whole like pup thing that is really big right now. But I didn't.
Yeah, Tremanda, you're in the gay community. How far do you think it should go?
Starting it out early. You're in the gay community.
Well, honestly, I mean, let's face it. He's very open about it, and since we're all heterosexuals, I mean, we identify as male or females, and that's the limit we go.
Why are you speaking for us?
Okay, I'll speak for myself. I'll speak for anybody else.
I'm going to be a fucking we. I want to be a we.
Right, that's great.
But how far? We from now on.
All right, I like that. An outdated gaming system that's useless to everybody.
She only named herself that because when she coughs,
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right, I get it. But how far is it going to go, or how far should it go as people start identifying themselves?
Here's my question for you, Rons.
Okay.
And you can
let's
answer
counter
this
this with
question.
another question.
You can answer this question, Tremonde. Also, you can answer this question, Swan. Why do you believe that Tremonde's identity is just him being gay?
I don't.
Do you
But
think
he
that
can
my
offer an
identity?
insight.
Do you think that my identity is just totally linked to the fact that I'm hetero? You don't bring it up that I am heterosexual every
I
time you
don't.
talk to me. You don't say, "Hey, Beav man, you like chicks."
Well,
That's
you
not
make
how
it
you start
well known.
conversations with me. So why is it that you start those
Listen. You make it
conversations with
well
Tremonde?
known within our.
Tremonde, you're gay.
All right.
That's your identity. So Tremonde, your identity is
You
that
make
you
it
are
well
gay.
known that you're straight. You really do. However, from another perspective,
I don't
how
think you're
far do
answering
you
the
think it
question.
should go? And let's face it, the homosexual community a long time ago was suppressed. Now everybody's coming out, or most people who are gay, right, or identify as gay, or identify as a hedgehog, are now finally having their say in the world.
It's just digging his hole deeper.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to keep it an open mind. How far are we willing to push it, though, or they're willing to push it? When someone says, as the Beaveman says, identifies as something else.
I'm pretty sure Ron's identifies as a rock.
Well, you don't have to be a member of the LGBTQ community to identify as something else, Rons.
All right.
That's kind of the point that I was.
But it's mostly associated with that. And if you read the news.
No, it's not, because if you look at our professional profile for the company that I work for, it shows what how we identify ourselves. I'm a straight heterosexual male. I still have that option to identify as whatever I want to identify as. That doesn't mean that I'm part of the LGBTQ community.
And
Whatever
that's why I
pronoun
heard
you
part of that
use
community,
doesn't
man.
make you part. No, they're not linked together.
Yeah, you're thinking that. I think that a lot of times you think that these multiple things are exclusive to that group, and it's not. This is just how people want. That doesn't have anything to do with it. It's how people want to identify themselves. I don't think there's no exclusivity there. It's kind of like my whole thing. The LGBTQ community should not be appropriating the rainbow. It was for all of us. Stop trying to appropriate the rainbow.
But on that note, it sounds like, or it looks like, they're appropriating, different cultures or different people are appropriating that, the
no, how
identity.
you identify yourself doesn't necessarily have to do with that, Rons. You can if you want to identify as they, it's okay. You don't have to be a part of the LGBTQ community to do that.
Come on, say the letters.
Okay, but Tremonde identifies as, I'm assuming, he, him, right, Tremonde?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you going with the pronouns?
Doesn't necessarily
then?
mean he's that. Why is that? It got to be attached to him being gay, just like you identify as he, him.
No, but it's more from my observation. It's been recently just more for the LGBTQ community.
See, you can't even do it. He can't even do it. He's like, oh,
LGBTQPR.
Swan, you were
all
not
right. So I'm just a bit tired. I apologize.
So I don't
think it has to do with it. I feel like you could sleep 12 hours and I don't think it would change. And that's okay because that's your appeal, Rons.
Yeah. And Rons, I think like the conversation has typically been in conversation, they've been kind of like linked together. But as the Beaveman said, it's not necessarily has to be that way, but that's how it's often talked about.
I agree. And when Beaveman didn't open his eyes like you did, which of course, you shine a light on it that we so much desperately need.
It's amazing that you never understand what I say, but as soon as Sexual Chocolate says the same goddamn thing I said, is it because
He's
of
only got
how amorous?
For
is it because how amorous you are towards Tremonde? Is that why?
No.
He gives him his full attention. So maybe you should tell Ron's Tremonde that he needs to get that colonoscopy done.
You should.
I love how you switched the subject there. That's awesome.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna take what he says as law, then
I didn't take it as law. I was just looking at it as a different perspective on things. That's all.
The gay perspective.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
well, the gay
but I think that's my point is that Tremonde's identity is not him being gay.
I know.
But that's what you always point out.
We also have an Ask the Tremonde gay section.
That has nothing to do with the rest of the time. Like, that's your whole identity. So, Tremonde, you're gay. Tremonde, you're gay, by the way. You're gay. You know what? Tremonde, if you weren't gay, then your whole... I think that the Rons wouldn't like you anymore.
No, that's not
you
true at all.
You're not gay anymore.
Yeah. That's not true at all.
I would just be chocolate. I wouldn't be.
You could still be sexual chocolate,
but not to Ross. I would just be chocolate to
Oh,
Ross.
just chocolate.
No, you would. Oh man.
So Beaveman,
a very, very, very introspective question just got thrown around. All right, cool.
So Beaveman, this title, "Don't F with My Comedy."
Yeah, don't fuck with my comedy. Don't fuck with my comedy.
I'm interested in seeing where you take this.
All right. Well, here's the deal. And of course, it seems it's going to be late by the time that everybody gets this out. And by now, everybody's already had their opinion on this. But I'm going to throw my opinion out there anyway as the voice for so many people who depend on me. I'm going to talk about the slap. I'm going to talk about the slap. I'm going to talk about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock on the Oscars. Now, like most people, I don't watch the Oscars. I couldn't give two shits about the Oscars. I really couldn't. And the next day, when I was seeing all the pictures and the memes and all those things, I thought it was some sort of made-up staged picture. So I didn't know anything about it until more people started talking about it. And then I looked it up, and then I watched Howard Stern talk about it, and I love Howard Stern. So many people may not agree with Howard Stern, but I tend to agree with a lot of the things he says.
I feel like he's pretty real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
well,
he survived.
I'm giving my opinion. Yeah.
You know, he's survived by doing what he does and without, pretty much not kowtowing to people. But I watched that, and my opinion pretty much mirrors what Howard Stern says. So I'm going to give my opinion, how things look, how they should have looked, what should have happened, what should happen now, et cetera, et cetera. I also did a little wisdom talk on this. So if you want to listen to me ramble on for like 20 minutes, you can catch me on Wisdom, folks. You can find me on the Wisdom app as the Slaptail Squad, the Beaveman. Here's what I see. Here's what I saw happen. Chris Rock.
So can I interrupt for just
what
a
the
second?
fuck, man? Immediately, Swan's like, can I just interrupt? Yeah, you just my whole freaking flow of question. My whole freaking flow.
I wanted to.
Does the Swan identify as an interrupter? Do you identify as an interrupter?
I wanted to interrupt before, but I didn't want to interrupt into your introduction. But I just wanted to say that I have not looked up anything on this, so this is all new to me. Like, I just intentionally avoided
new to you. You know that he slapped.
I know it, but I haven't looked up anybody's opinions or any. Like, I haven't watched it. I don't know. I didn't watch the Oscars. I haven't even watched any clips on it. So I'm just telling you, I don't know anything about it other than knowing it happened, but opinions on it and what people are saying, totally avoided it.
You know what might have helped you?
What?
Is if you would have shut up and let me describe the whole thing.
Okay,
and what
I wanted to say I can now.
As I took a breath to start speaking, you immediately
time to interrupt. It is.
My question doesn't seem so bad anymore when the Swan interrupts.
No, your question's bad.
No, it's not.
It's cringy.
It's not. It's not even cringy at all.
It's amazing how I gave the prequel to everything, and it was clear that I was starting.
Okay, so when am I supposed to interrupt?
She just immediately starts speaking.
Well, first of all, don't say I don't want to interrupt because you already done.
I did want to. Yeah, I did.
It's not that you don't want to interrupt. It's that you can't wait to interrupt. It drives you crazy.
Apparently, I don't understand how the English conversation works then.
It's not a conversation.
I'm supposed to interject then.
It's not a conversation. You see, I was speaking.
Okay, well, when is it my turn?
I was not speaking to you.
Open the floor to me then?
I wasn't speaking to you, Swan, and I wasn't saying, hey, let's partake in this conversation between you and I. No, I was setting the stage. I was laying it out there, and you just immediately start talking.
I'm not gonna say anything then. I'm just gonna sit here, and then you'll be like, why isn't Swan interrupting? I don't even know what you'll do.
You are physically incapable.
As an interrupter?
You are physically incapable of doing that, first of all.
I'm gonna do it right now.
It's not gonna happen.
Silencing my microphone. Just sitting here doing nothing.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say now, quite honestly.
You do too. Don't lie.
Anyway, So watch a clip. It's pretty ridiculous.
No, I don't want to.
Oh my God. Well, I was already here. I was getting ready to talk again, and you
You're
just
still
immediately
talking to
interrupted me.
I thought you were still talking to me.
Are you done? Are you done, Swan? Do you think you're done? Can you just? Okay. All right. Why don't you time yourself? Let's do that for fun. Why don't you time yourself?
Hey,
All
Swan,
right.
now you know how I feel.
So, the Oscars, Chris Rock is on stage. He makes an offhanded comment, not even a mean joke, nothing. Basically a nothing joke, and says something like, Jada, can't wait for G.I. Jane 2 to come out. Basically is all he said. Very minor joke. To me, a nothing joke. You can see on the video when you watch it, you will see Will Smith laughing. And you can see it's a broad picture, but you can see Jada roll her eyes and look pissed. Will Smith's laughing. He looks over at Jada and sees that she's pissed. And now he's mad. Okay, well, you can't just laugh at a joke, look at your wife, and then decide that you're mad. You laughed. You laughed at the joke. That's for one thing. So now you decide that you're going to you're going to perform the act of battery on a person. Now, here's my issue. Chris Rock is a comedian. That's his job. That's his gig. His gig is making jokes. If you don't like his jokes, too fucking bad. He's a comedian. That's what he does. All right? Will Smith is somehow allowed to approach Chris Rock on stage. And Chris Rock is probably thinking, oh, maybe he's going to come up and kind of playfully do something, or maybe he's going to give me a hug, or maybe something. I'm just speculating what Chris Rock might be thinking. I think that probably in no point in time, in those few seconds, did Chris Rock imagine that he was going to get slapped on national television or a television event that's going to be around the whole world by a multi-millionaire major star in the Oscars that has never happened before. If you watch the video clip, and I highly recommend you do, Swan, Chris Rock's hands are behind his back. Will Smith walks up and slaps him. Just slaps him. Says some expletives, gets off the stage, and still manages to keep yelling at Chris Rock, and still manages somehow to stay at the Oscars, doesn't get ejected, doesn't get arrested, nothing happens to him. Not only that, he gets an Oscar for his portrayal of the movie King Richard, for what was it, Venus and Serena's dad.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets that. And then not only that, here's the worst part. Here to me is not only the worst part, it's a very bad part. Not only that, he makes excuses for himself when he gets his award. He gets laughter, he gets applause, he gets his award. He apologizes, but he doesn't apologize to Chris Rock. He apologizes to the Academy, the audience, whatever, but he doesn't apologize to Chris Rock.
Right.
And so here's my question as a comedian for all you listeners out there. So as a comedian, does this mean that I have to be able to physically defend my comedy? Do I have to physically defend my fucking comedy against somebody?
Yes.
Really? I have to be
Yes.
able to physically defend my comedy. Can you explain what your thought process is on that then, Ron? Why is that?
Lenny Bruce going to court, defending his comedy.
No, that's not what I just told you.
Yeah, I'm
that is
kidding.
not what I just said. I just said, do I have to physically... You didn't even listen to my question. What was my question to you?
I'm getting there. I'm making a correlation here.
You always bring up Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce went
I'll
to
leave him
court.
out. Listen,
Lenny Bruce
I'll
could have
leave
been
him out.
arrested. That's not what I said.
Yeah, I know.
And he was arrested. What I said was, do I have to be able to physically...
Yes, I'm making a
comedy.
point
You're
here.
talking about a court case. We're not talking about that. I asked you physically.
All right. If you don't want to hear my opinion on this, I can be like the Swan and interrupt at the most
give us your
inopportune
opinion,
time.
but you're going to talk about something that's irrelevant. You're going to talk
Once
about how he was
again,
arrested, but that's not
I'm going to
physically
get a sock
defending. I'm
puppet
talking about
and play
fighting
with my
for my
sock
comedy,
puppet.
Ron. I'm talking about, do I
Yes.
have to engage in
I
physical
get that.
fighting?
I
Is that what
get
Lenny
that.
Bruce did?
I get that.
Is that what Lenny Bruce did?
Not in the physical sense, but I'm making a correlation. Would you let me make the fucking connection here? Would you let me make the connection other than
Sure,
going
go ahead.
blah, blah, blah? All right. Fair enough. I get that, but that's where it starts. Chris Rock has said some pretty racist things in the past. His comedy's routine is based on that, and of course, somewhere along the line,
His comedy routine is
Hold
based
on,
on
let me
racism.
finish.
No, it's not. You just
Oh,
made a
really?
general statement that Chris Rock's comedy routine is based on racism.
No, I said some of it's pretty
That
racist.
is not what you
Oh,
said.
Jesus Christ! Would you
So
let
you
me
have to be
finish?
careful. Okay.
Listen. You want to keep interrupting like the Swan does? That's great. I will shut myself down and listen to you. But if you
I would
won't
be
let me make the
irresponsible if
correlation,
I didn't. I would be irresponsible if I didn't interrupt you because you are making yourself look bad.
no, I am
I would
not.
be
You're making me
irresponsible if I
look
didn't
bad.
interrupt you.
You're making me look bad by not letting me complete the
Okay, go ahead.
correlation.
Go ahead.
But when it comes down to it, Lenny Bruce was just the start of it. It went from this, what people could say to a physical act. And there are a few comedians out there where they've gotten fights over it. Now, there are some comedians, I can't think of his name right now, who would steal other people's punchlines. And he got into an altercation, I think with Joe Rogan, right? And there are other comedians. I remember watching this one comedian on stage, and he got heckled, and he took his guitar to the guy because the guy wouldn't shut up, right? So there's this point where you only have to defend if someone gets in your face about your comedy, you have to realize that sometimes you might have to defend yourself over what you say. Because, I mean, let's face it, you're antagonizing me, right? Because you won't let me finish. Should I physically defend myself from your words, right? Because you won't let me speak my opinion? Now, I'm a pretty humble guy, I'd like to think. And I'll let you have your say. But at some point, when do you stop badgering me so I can get my opinion out? Right? And at some point, someone's going to take an offense to what I say or what you say. I've had that happen most recently. And it's like, it's a pain in the ass. I say, hey, I like to do a comedy podcast. And it's like, oh, are you funny? I would like to think I am. And I say stuff. And they're like, next thing you know, I have a talk with somebody. They're like, that's kind of creepy. I'm like, okay. Or that's too abrasive. Sometimes our comedy takes a turn where people just get pissed off and they either have to defend themselves either physically or verbally. I mean, I think we live in a
So if I don't interrupt him, he's going to keep rambling on.
I think we live.
This is rambling incoherence, but I was just sitting over here being quiet because
but I think we're too sensitive in our society about comedy. This was just going to happen eventually.
Okay, but my question was, after this long rambling response was, do I have to be able to physically defend myself because of my comedy? And my point was, you immediately brought up Lenny Bruce and his court case and everything. I go, no, my question was, do I have to physically you brought up a court case. The question I asked you was, do I have to be able to physically defend myself because of my comedy? And so now you're saying yes, and my question is why? And when you say that it's only, there's a few people that have been, had to defend themselves physically. No, actually, it's a common occurrence for comedians that they get attacked. It's a common occurrence for them that they have to have a car waiting for them to drive them away. It's a common occurrence that they get booked for demographics that they should never be booked for because they have a manager that's a fucking idiot. And so they constantly live under a threat of physical violence. And yet, in an area where he shouldn't be worried about physical violence, he gets assaulted. And nobody does anything about it. There's no security. There's no nothing. If I was to go to the Oscars and open my mouth, I'd get thrown out. That's the bottom line. I can't go assault somebody. I can't assault somebody now. If I assault somebody now, I'm going to jail. If I perform battery on somebody, I'm going to jail. The only way I would not go to jail is if it's two adults who agree to engage in combat. Police really don't care at that point. Like, did you agree to fight? Yes. Did you agree to fight? Yes. Okay, well, I guess you guys decided you were going to beat the crap out of each other. As long as it's not disorderly conduct and not involving other people, whatever. But in this instance, once again,
it was unprovoked. Like, he put his hands on him unprovoked.
Yeah, I mean, he took a comment from a comedian, not even a bad one, and decided that he was going to smack him. which is
Yeah.
totally not appropriate.
I mean, what kind of statement was he hoping to make with that? I mean, I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch it, but
You don't have to have watched
I
it
know,
to
but I'm just
understand what
saying,
we're
I
telling
get
you.
the concept, yes, but what kind of statement was he trying to make? Honestly, like just hearing it and seeing everything about it, do you know what it's done? I'm pretty sure it's probably given Chris Rock and every other comedian way more content to freaking make fun of. Now you can make fun of Jada even more. Now you can make fun of Will Smith and his slap. Now you can make fun of Will Smith's manhood for defending his wife. I mean, there's way more content for comedians now, right?
Yeah, but that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that here's what really drives me crazy about a lot of it is that there's, instead of it being everybody's in support of Chris Rock, that's not the way it is. There's
No,
probably it might even be more balanced towards, oh, poor Will Smith.
No,
well,
actually, ticket sales for Chris Rock are through the roof.
Again, you didn't listen to what I just
yeah,
said.
but Chris Rock's fan base is like probably this, and you have he's got I don't even know how many thousand people, or you're selling 20,000 tickets, and now there's 4 million people going, good job, Will Smith. That's the ratio is not the same.
There's
Okay.
too many people making excuses for Will Smith when it shouldn't be happening in the first place. That's what I just see. Again, not listening to what I said, Roz. What I said was there's just as much support for Will Smith as there is for Chris Rock, and it shouldn't be that way. People should be looking at this and going, no, not poor Will Smith. Oh, poor Will Smith. He made a comment about Jada. No, it shouldn't be that way. It should be, no, Chris Rock was slapped on national television when he shouldn't have to worry about his safety. And then Will Smith faces no repercussions for this. I like Will Smith. I liked Will Smith. I liked his movies. I've always liked him. Liked him since DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, before he was ever the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, all his movies. If you go upstairs in my attic, you'll find cassette tapes that are the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. I have them on tape.
Yeah, I like Will Smith too, but I don't really think that what he did was appropriate at all. Like, you never should be able to put your hands on somebody, like you said, without the consent of, we're going to fight, and do you agree to that? There's no reason to put your hands on somebody at all. And I liked him too. And now we're probably going to hear like, oh, he had a shitty childhood, and that's why he did it, because he has pent up aggression from his crappy childhood, or his dad beat him as a child. Some dumb shit's going to come out that making excuses of it, but that doesn't give you an excuse to put your hands on anybody.
No, the excuses that they're making is that, oh, there's been too much, comedy at the expense of Jada and Will over their relationship. Oh, back in 2016, Chris Rock made a comment about Jada. Okay, 2016? Freaking 6 years ago? He made a joke about her? Who gives a shit? I mean, I'm sorry. If you, and when people are like, oh, he's, this is how it is in the hood. You defend your woman. I'm like, okay, really? So now you want to talk about, I'll give you some toxic masculinity. Here's some toxic masculinity for you. Is it a display of toxic masculinity that he went up and slapped Chris Rock over a comment made about Jada? Possibly. Or is it more of a toxic masculinity that he felt that he himself had to defend Jada and she can't defend herself? Which is it? Because, they always want to tell us that, oh, men are being men and they're behaving badly and all these other things. I'm like, okay, but wouldn't it have been better if he'd have said, okay, well, I don't need to defend her over this. That's not anything that needs to be defended over. Actually, you're being more of a chauvinistic asshole if you go slap somebody in the face over a very minor joke that a comedian made.
Yeah,
Just
I don't
something to
think
think
he was meaning it like derogatory. I mean, that's comedy. He probably like laughed about it and was fine. And like you said, Will Smith laughed about it at first too, until he didn't get the reaction that he wanted.
Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beaveman, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer-lasting pleasure. Great. Now that we have our professional corporate talk out of the way, on a more personal note, I love Swiss Navy silicone lubricant. It's amazing. I'm not joking. It is so amazing that I'm hesitant to try the other products because I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to use it on the rare occasions the Swan and I have sex. It's like a sexual force multiplier. Try it. You won't be disappointed, and I promise to try the other products. After all, is there a better way of sharing a product review than with your listening audience? Of course not. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole. By the way, my son wrote that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm such a proud father today. But they have options from travel sizes of only 2 ounces all the way up to a gallon option for certain products. I'll leave it up to your imagination, dear listener, what can be accomplished with a gallon of premium quality lube. But don't just take my word for it. Try it out for yourself by going to SwissNavy.com. Once again, that's SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love. Adios, moochfuckos. Special Chocolate, you're being awfully quiet.
So my perspective, I too didn't watch the Oscars, and then all of a sudden you see one tweet come up, and then you just find out everything. So what I've paid attention to is just what I've been able to see. I've read a lot of different comments and thoughts of things that happened afterwards and during the show, and I'll speak about that. But just focusing on the facts. So the video shows them laughing. He gets up, slaps Chris Rock, and then he goes back to his seat, and then he starts yelling, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. At that point, I think people realized that he was not just joking, because I saw another video that came out today. Someone recorded it from their cell phone, and they were sitting behind Jada and Will. And after the slap, I think they put out their phone, and then that's when they started recording. And so when, as Will is walking back to his seat, Chris Rock says, I just got slapped by Will. And you can see Jada laughing as if she's thinking it's a joke, until Will sat down and said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. Then you can see Jada expression kind of got serious. Like, oh, this was not a setup routine bit or what have you. Like it's not a joke. Or she was laughing at the fact that her husband did just get up and slap somebody. Now, there's a lot of conversation that says that Will was approached and he was asked to leave and he refused to leave, this, that, and the other. That's just statements. That's not something that we can see if security guards actually came over and asked him to be removed from the venue or the event. But he stayed. And as you said, he was able to accept his award in person and give a speech. And for him not to recognize his faults in that moment, that he had done something wrong to the person he needed to be apologizing for first, he apologized. I think it came out like 24 hours later. He apologized to Chris Rock, and he said something along the lines of like, there's no place for abuse or violence, something like that, in a world of love and kindness, and this is not the man that I want to be. And it's like, it's too late for that. You know, this is not the first time somebody got mad at a joke. I get it. He could have handled that drastically different. Him going on stage, if he really felt bothered by it, he could address that even on mic and said, this is the condition that my wife is going through. I would appreciate it if it was not made, if no parts of it was used as a joke. Even though he wasn't really talking about her as her disease, but I mean, characters or actors, they go through all these transformations, cutting hair, weight loss, weight gain to take a role, you know? And so for him to do that, I felt it was very much so out of line. And I think it's highlighted more because it's Will Smith, right? But it's not, again, it's not okay. I was like thoroughly disgusted that he got on stage and did that. And also as a person of color, and then, you know, like that just adds like a whole nother element to it for me as well.
Well, here's the other thing that really bothered me about the whole thing is, you know, they're making this big deal about, oh, poor Jada, she has alopecia, and they're acting like they keep saying disease this and disease that. I'm like, are you guys serious? Are you really taking alopecia and equating it to something as serious as like fucking cancer? Because that's what they're all doing. They keep, I'm like, are you like, this is what kind of, this is how, and I hate to use this word, but this is what sheep the American people are. They keep throwing this term around like it's a big fucking deal. Like, oh, yeah, he's making fun of her disease condition. Okay, guys, alopecia is hair loss. You know, it could be her genetic wiring, it could be heredity, it could be stress that she's losing her hair. But if you keep saying that like it's a primary condition, then all that means to me is, yeah, she has hair loss. Okay. Big deal. If you were saying that she has hair loss secondary to her chemotherapy treatment, I might feel bad. But the fact that you're basically saying alopecia and trying to make it, because all you're doing is you're giving it a name, which we know it's alopecia, but for people who don't know anything are going to be like, oh my God, she has this terrible condition. It means her hair's fucking falling out, people. Get a fucking grip. It's not anything where it's a life altering freaking thing that is, it's, don't stop equating it to fucking cancer. Stop equating it to this life. I mean, people are suffering from way more worse things. I don't feel bad that Jada Pinkett Smith is losing her fucking hair. I don't feel bad about it. And it's no reason for Will Smith to fucking slap Chris Rock, who's a comedian, doing his bit. It's fucking ridiculous.
And I think that goes to the how much on a pedestal we put our appearance and things like that. Because like when men start to lose their hair, they start to go through this period of not wanting to accept their baldness and you know and things like that. It's because like we want to keep this certain appearance about ourselves, you know, and so to me it just heightens that aspect of how I don't even know what words I don't want to say self-centered we can be about how we look, you know, because like I said, if they came to her and said, hey, we want you to do this role, this is what it's going to require, how much you want to bet if they put the right dollar amount behind it, she would have shaved her head for that role,
Sure.
you know. And not saying that she didn't go through any mental breakdowns or what have you about losing her hair and things like that, you know, not ignoring that, just saying like we will make some of these changes if there was some money behind it. What's you know, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, you're right. I mean, if you put a dollar amount behind it, yeah. I mean, look at Guardians of the Galaxy, who played Gamora's sister, right? Nebula, I think was her name, or I forget the actress' name, but she shaved her head. And then you look at the Walking Dead character, right? A woman who shaved her head for the right amount of money, right? So you're right. If they would have put a dollar amount behind it, and look at Demi Moore, of course, the GI Jane, and then the GI Jane joke, she shaved her head for the role. And you're right. You put a dollar amount, no one cares.
Well, and if she cared that much, she probably could have, before this all happened, wore a wig and nobody would even know. Like she was, I mean, if she was
She
that
doesn't care
self-conscious,
because
yeah.
her losing
So
her hair. Here's how, in my opinion, this is how entertainers and actors think. She's losing her hair. She publicizes it. Oh, poor me. I'm losing my hair. I have this horrible condition. I'm going to shave my head and then bejewel my head. She's not, I am sorry. She's not significant in the
No.
entertainment world. She's Jada Pinkett Smith. She's a big deal because she's married to Will Smith. She's never been this major movie picture star. She's never been any of that stuff. Probably a lot of the roles that she gets even now. I'm like, she didn't need to be in the Matrix. Her role in the Matrix, the last Matrix was like pointless. I'm like, what? How did she get to be that one? She got to be the one they pulled back in. Like, why? Because she's Will Smith wanted her to be in the movie? Probably. I'm just saying she's trying to be relevant. Good for you. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think she's a major star personally. She's a major star because she married Will Smith, who's a major freaking megastar. He's a freaking megastar. But I tell you what, we need to stop condoning the behavior of megastars,
Mm-hmm.
mega entertainers. We need to stop saying that it's okay for you to perform and act badly. I'll say this for Chris Rock. Okay, here's my thing. When I watch this, after I watch this, I've always liked Chris Rock, even though his comedy, according to Ron's, is based on racism.
Some of it is, not all of it.
Except what I'm telling you is you said that his comedy was based on racism. And that's why I told you, I'm like, this is why I interrupt you, because you make these statements that are like, dude, you don't want to make that statement. That was a statement that you made. You did not say some of his comedy. You said his comedy is based on racism. What? Anyway.
Anyway,
Like I said, I'd be remiss if I didn't interrupt you. Anyway, keep this in mind. Will Smith, action picture star, done multiple genres, right? He slapped Chris Rock, didn't drop him. So how many how many more action roles are going to come along to Will Smith now? You can't even drop Chris Rock, who had his hands behind his back, with a slap. Now, if you want to see a funny video, and a lot of people are going to make them, the Gracies put out a video right away. And Tremonde, Swan, you probably don't know who the Gracies are.
I do. They're the Brazilian jiu-jitsu
The
people.
Brazilians?
Brazilian jiu-jitsu people.
Oh, okay, well, good. All right, good for you.
See? Go Swan.
All right. Well, Tremonde might not know that. I don't know. Do you know that,
No,
Tremonde?
I don't.
No, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, its foundations, or the most famous family in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the Gracie family. There's about 1 billion of them. Anyway, they immediately put out a video of showing the side-by-side clips and what Chris Rock should have done, which was kind of funny. I don't know if they meant to do it. I don't know if they meant it to be serious or if they were just joking. But basically, they show what he should have done. They show a takedown, armbar, that sort of thing. Like, I don't think Chris Rock was going to do that.
I mean, I give
funny.
Chris Rock props for not punching him in the fucking mouth, because if you put your hands on me, I'd have punched
Yeah, but
you
you
back.
didn't see the video. This is exactly
see
what
the
happened.
video. No.
This is exactly what happened. Will Smith slapped him and didn't engage with him. He slapped him like he was beneath him and turned his back and walked away. Like in one motion. It was slap, back turns, walks away. Chris Rock had no time to do anything except get slapped, rear his head back, and pop his head back up.
Yeah, then that makes Will
He
Smith
did not go
look
toe to
even
toe
more
with
of a
Chris Rock.
bitch.
Yeah. And there was almost like a little like smirk that Will had on his face as he was like walking back to his seat, you know? So yeah, he was not trying to go toe to toe, which in my opinion, it just made it even more demeaning.
Yeah, it was just that's why Chris Rock didn't have a chance to go toe to toe with him in the first place. But the point is that Chris Rock took a slap from Will Smith and saved face. He was totally humble. He was and people laughed and everything. Oh, so funny. It's not funny. Chris Rock was humiliated, and yet he's the bigger person for all of this. And I hope he does make lots of money out of it. I hope his ticket sales did go up, and he's trying to keep people from saying bad things about Will Smith. I'm like, why? It's not. I mean, what he did was fucking wrong. Maybe that just shows
him being the better person.
He is the better person, but
that's good. But maybe he should challenge him to a fight, because I'm pretty sure Chris Rock might be able to kick Will Smith's ass.
Well, if Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and didn't drop him,
yeah,
Will Smith's kind of a big dude. So yeah, I will say this: I'm very sad about all of it for multiple reasons. Because one, I don't think that I think comedians live a very hard life. I've talked about this before on the podcast, that comedians live a very tough life. They're on the road, stand-up comedians. They're getting gigs. People heckle them. People treat them like shit. They might get bad venues. All those things. They lead a pretty solitary life, and to not have that type of security that you're supposed to have it's a big deal. And then to have to defend a mild comment like that, this is kind of what I was saying. Of like, okay, well, if you decide that you have to defend your, bring out, let's see you go toe to toe with somebody who can take it and who's going to take you down for that shit. I'm like, I swear to God, you freaking do that to me, you're not going to make it that close to me in the first place. I see you storming my way, you're getting freaking, I'm jacking you. You're not going to enter my own personal bubble.
Yeah. So, Beaveman, do you think if it was The Rock that was up there making this joke, you think it would have gone different?
No, Will Smith wouldn't have got up and slapped The Rock. Hell no. But he decided he was okay for him to get up and slap Chris Rock. Fuck no.
Yeah. I think that he may lose a lot from this. Like I think
he should.
He may keep some money, but I think he may lose contracts and deals and partnerships with people because they may not want to work with him because of how he behaved in that moment.
Yeah, right? What's going to come out now is all the other bad behavior that we never heard about is going to come out. Any transgressions on his part is going to come out. His career is going to take
in the spotlight.
Yeah,
a bad spotlight.
They did, and I don't think it's going to be all positive because like they've been pulling up jokes and stuff of him making fun of bald people and all these other things to like show like, yo, you did the same thing, and in one of the videos I saw, he was like on Arsenio Hall. That was in like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he was making fun of a guy and his bald head, and then the crowd was laughing or like kind of like, giving him some like side remarks. She was like, It's just a joke, you know." So like that stuff is like resurfacing, and it's not highlighting him and supporting him. There's conversations around like, is there a lot going on, some type of mental illness? Not saying that it was okay, but trying to find some reason as to why he felt the need to do that in the moment. And the fact that he got to stay,
Yeah, that's pretty crappy, I think. I mean, if it was anybody normal, not an actor, not someone famous, they'd have been kicked out and probably arrested.
yeah.
Oh
And
yeah, he
I've-
would have gone to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'd have done that, I'd be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't even have got to the
Quickly.
stage.
Quickly.
Well,
Like,
that's the
that's-
other thing is
You'd have
how
been
did he get to
tackled.
the stage?
Yep.
He shouldn't have made it to the stage. Oh, it's Will Smith. Let him approach the stage. What? Why?
Yeah.
Especially when you know that those shows, how they're ran, like every minute has to count for something, and he just totally like disregarded that in every aspect. And I've heard comments from like Wanda Sykes and Jim Carrey, very respected comedians, and they were disgusted by his behavior.
Yeah, I heard Jim Carrey's comment. It's like it's no longer the cool club. So
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
and that you are seeing that for the most part. I think that the comedians are rallying, but that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the comedians rally behind Chris Rock, but you're seeing plenty of sympathy out there from the non-comedians, which is garbage. Like, okay, so the niche people, the comedy folks, are rallying with Chris Rock, but everybody else has to go support Will Smith. Why? They shouldn't have any. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I've always been a fan of Will Smith. Now I'm totally the opposite. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm not interested anymore. It's all bad behavior. It's here's how he should have handled it. This is in my fantasy world. This is how he should have handled it, right? I'm going to give him some options. Chris Rock makes the joke. Best way for him to handle it was for him to laugh at the joke. And if Jada was pissed, he'd be like, he could have leaned over and like, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
That's the best way that he could have handled it. Second best way he could handle it. If he decided he was really pissed, then you wait till the show's over and then you go talk to Chris Rock. The reason why it's important to wait is you're going to get that cooling off period, and then you're probably still going to realize, I don't need to go talk to Chris Rock. It was fine because you had that cooling off period. Goodness, just in case that the cooling off period didn't work, then you go talk to Chris Rock. And you're like, hey, I didn't like what you said. And Chris Rock being Chris Rock's going to be like, it was a joke. I'm a comedian. It's not personal. I didn't mean anything by it. And if that didn't cool you off, then here's your option. Chris, I would like to challenge you to combat. Do you accept? If Chris declines, then he must apologize to Jada and you. If Chris accepts, then you set up a time, a place, even safety gear with an audience of safety professionals for a sanctioned private combat session. And there you go. And you might even need that cooling off period. You say, hey, we're going to do it in a week. And a week goes by, maybe even you guys decide to cancel it. But if you don't, then you have it. Maybe Chris Rock beats the fuck out of Will Smith. Maybe Will Smith beats the fuck out of Chris Rock. Doesn't really matter. Either way, you've satisfied everything. But I guarantee you, it's probably not even going to meet that point. Because every step of the way, you've got a cooling off period where you can realize that you're being a fucking moron and it's just a joke.
I think that when he looked over at Jada, he could have asked her, how do you feel right now? If she said she was upset, he could have said, do you want to leave? And at that point, they should make the choice if they needed to get up and walk out or if they were going to stay. Pick one.
I agree.
Pick one.
I just think, yeah, whatever. Go ahead, one.
I mean, yeah, I agree with like almost, all of that pretty much. Yeah. And if he really had that issue, like you said, he could have talked to Chris Rock at the end. And if he's like, you can apologize to my wife and then you can apologize to like national TV too and say, put a statement out there, whatever.
The thing is, he just doesn't need to apologize. Chris Rock has no reason to apologize. That comment was,
I mean,
that was a joke. It wasn't even a major joke. It was a minor. It wasn't even.
probably if he didn't even bring it up, it would have not even been an ordeal. Like, it was just something that was said and moved on, and it was going to be.
It would have
nobody
died.
would have remembered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something else I saw on the issue is that there was a lot of like good happen that night. A lot of good things, a lot of good moments, and like this has just dominated that entire event.
I agree. All right. All those who won Oscars that night, and I never saw the movie Will Smith was in. I never did. But all those who won were at the highest peak of their profession. And just to have this shadow, this overcast on it, it took away from everybody who worked so hard to get where they were at. And I think that was mentioned by somebody, but I'm backing that up. It's like, it was a joke. It was. And I think we've all been
I think it was
victim
just said
of-
by Tremonti like 3 minutes ago.
He's just
Yeah.
restating it. It's fact because Tremonti said it.
It was just.
No.
I mean, I'm sure it was said on media somewhere, but Tremonti had just said it like.
I
About 3
realize
minutes ago.
that. But once again, I'm pretty sure as comedians, as we all are, someone is taking offense to what we have said. And I've had a few people say, hey, that wasn't funny, right? Or someone's taking the joke out of context and like, I don't get it, right? And I'm like, okay. Or they've moved on. One of several.
So
options.
these are people that have listened to you in what respect and saying that to you.
I won't go into detail about that.
So
But
you bring
yeah.
it up, but you don't want to go into detail. You could just like generally give us a general statement of what you're talking about.
I just did. If you were listening, I gave you a general statement.
I thought you were saying that you recommended our podcast to somebody, they listened to it and they didn't like it, what we were talking about. In that case, you know what the response is for that?
What is it?
You don't have to listen to it.
Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it. You don't like
Yeah.
it? Don't listen to it. And if you continue to listen to it and you don't like it, well, you're still listening to it. Or if you decide you're going to listen to it and you don't like it and you're going to bring it up to me, you know what I'm going to tell you? After all these times I've told you not to listen to it,
Go
take a
fuck
guess.
yourself.
I said take a guess.
I
You came in
did.
too early.
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
try it again. Take a guess. Take a guess.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. And if they don't like that response from me, when I say go fuck yourself, you know what their option is? Agree to combat.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Not a problem? Agree to combat. You know what? I'm not going to say that I'm not like this huge Joe Rogan fan. I've listened to a few of his things. I think a lot of things that he says are ridiculous. I don't know if he means most of it or if he's just gone crazy like everybody else has gone crazy. But I will say this for Joe Rogan. And if you're listening, Joe Rogan, thanks for listening. I will say this about Joe Rogan. At least he will agree to beat the fuck out of somebody if they decide they're going to mouth off back. And I'm totally down with that. I'm like, okay, here's your option. Don't listen. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying. It's comedy. You don't have to listen. That's your option. Nobody's forcing you to sit down here and listen to what I have to say. Turn it off or walk away or wait for it to be done and do something else. But if you don't like that and you decided that you're going to be a fucking asshole, then I'm more than capable of telling you to go fuck yourself. And if you don't like that and you want to freaking try and assault me, guess what? I'm going to beat the fuck out of you if you do. That's your option.
People would probably, the world might be better like that. I mean, just think if you engaged because you wanted to and consented to a fight, things might get solved.
I mean, I totally agree with that. If you had a problem, and people, I'll often say this, people, they insult the military. Oh yeah, we're all stupid. You know what? We solve problems. We had a pit in my first duty station, a pit. Do you know what a pit is? Take a guess.
I do.
We had a sand pit at my first duty station, lined with rocks, a very large sand pit. And we would use that for things like combat training, combatives training, all those things. But if you were pissed at somebody, you could challenge them to meet you in the pit. And then you just went in the pit, and then somebody would set rules. Maybe the whole platoon would be there. Maybe they'd set rules and say, okay, you can only use combatives. You can't punch each other in the face. You can't do this. You can't do that. And then you just went at it till someone got thrown out of the pit or you were both exhausted and you passed out.
I mean, I guess that's just like the talking stick in preschool.
I mean, I
Only
don't
better.
really-
I don't get that.
I don't
What's
really
the
think
talking
so.
stick? What's the talking stick?
When you are in trouble in preschool and you have an argument or with your bully and whatever, only who gets the talking stick gets to talk. I mean, Tremonti probably knows about that. Didn't Camp like have something like that too?
Yeah, we do.
Like
That's what he
Yeah.
calls his penis. He calls his penis the talking
talking
stick.
Not with
stick.
kids.
No.
No.
That's nasty. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying that I'm on Chris Rock's side. I am sad about the whole thing. Not real happy about it. But
so
I think
what
Will
could
Smith was
Will
wrong.
Smith do to save face in
He
this?
can't.
He
He
can't.
can't.
I mean,
He
yeah,
can't.
it's too
absolutely
late.
cannot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
The only way there really is no way for him to save face. It never should have happened. It's
No.
bullshit. And to sit there and to allow him to continue with the award show to get his award, I don't want to be a dick about it, but I think that he should not have gotten his award for one thing. I think he should take it back. I think they should take it back. I think he should be banned from the Oscars. And I think that he should have to pay Chris Rock, let's be nice. Let's be conservative. $20 million.
I mean, that seems reasonable. He's worth way more than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And let's see. And he has to do Chris Rock's laundry and take out his garbage for an eternity. How about that? Sound
Yeah,
good?
I read that there's been like talk with Oscars production as far as what needs to happen. I don't know if they've settled on anything as of yet. Have anyone
Mm-mm.
heard or read anything?
No, but
Well,
you know what's kind of garbage though is what's probably going to happen is here. There's multiple reasons why I don't give a shit about the Oscars and the Academy Awards. Why I don't care about the Academy is because it's an organization run by a bunch of white dudes, and so they're not going to. This is what they're going to do: is they're not going to take away Will Smith's award because they want to give it to a black man in the first place. Oh, this will make us look good. If we finally have a qualified black man other than Denzel to give an award to. So we can't take it away from him. Look at the leaps and bounds we've made, world. We gave this award to a black person. And this is why you shouldn't give a shit about the Oscars or any other award
I don't
show.
give a shit about the Oscars or
No, I'm
any
not
of that
saying
stuff
you.
either.
I'm talking about
I'm just saying the whole world shouldn't.
care.
It's just
This is why you shouldn't
overpriced
care.
bullshit. Like they spend more than I spend on my house for a freaking dress, and it's bullcrap. It's just a flaunting around of parade of expensive people telling us. I don't know. I think it's dumb anyway. The whole process of it is stupid.
Anyway, well, I think we've come to a point in our show where we tend to ask Tremonti stupid questions about human sexuality and more specifically what it's like to be a gay man in America. And this
I covered that earlier.
No, I don't think you asked a question. You just made a dumb statement.
Well, I tried to include him in the question, but I was cut off. But okay.
No, because you're just tying his identity to everything being gay. But anyway, it's
See.
time for, and we're going to change the word because the Swan coined it. It's time for Pride Side Chat with Tremonti, our sexual chocolate, our own personal pudding pop. Ron, so you have a question for Tremonti today?
Actually, I had several, but I can't think of it after my little beat down there. Well, given that fact that there's a lot of hate crime out there, and we see it, right? And we don't have a solution to how we can stop it, or at least we have a way to deter it for the most part, but not completely stop it. How would you bring us a stronger sensitivity or a stronger, a better way of dealing with it?
What the fuck?
Use your words, Ron. Like, make a coherent sentence. Use your words.
What's the question?
What's that a question?
Wait a minute. I might not understand the question because I'm
And the
heterosexual.
Academy Award
It is for a
best
gay man.
drama.
It is for a gay man, so he might understand it. He might have understood what Ron was saying.
It sounds like a very like pageant question. Like Like I feel like I want to say like I want world peace. Like I
Yeah, it was. Right? Because I didn't want the podcast to go back to being so serious over this crap. Right. And there's a bigger
And then you
issue.
asked a question about violence.
No. There's a bigger issue that no one has really covered here with the Chris Rock thing.
What's the bigger issue?
It's a black on black crime, and we don't see it too much in the media, right? After all this crap that came down, right? What's the
I don't understand
fallout
why that
from
makes
that?
any difference.
Exactly, but it
That's
will.
why I didn't bring it up, because why does it make any difference? If I slap you and you're freaking Mexican, is anybody going to say it's a
someone
brown
will.
on brown crime?
Yeah, they will.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, I agree. So,
and so
yeah,
this is,
I didn't
What
want
does
to
that
bring
have
that
to
up.
do with the gap? What does that have to do with being
Well,
gay?
you wanted to know, and I told you, so there you go.
and so and if I understand your statement, Ron's, and this is why earlier I made the reference about race being a part of this incident that happened with Will and Chris Rock, because
Okay.
that will become another layer of it, as far as them both being black. And as you kind of said a little bit a while ago, Beaveman, this is a production that is put on by Caucasians, whites, and there's already this perception, this image of how blacks or African Americans act, and this kind of highlighted that in some way. Like I'm sure this will be a part of the conversation at some point. At some point, it's going to be.
Did that answer Ron's question?
I don't know because I don't know.
I don't even know what his question was.
Just give us some knowledge. Just spit out some facts, Tremonde, and then wrap it up with, in summary, to answer Ron.
In
You gotta have
summary,
an opening. You gotta have the
I
body,
want-
and you've got to have. What you do is you summarize the body and your opening, and then you wrap it up in this nice neat little package.
yeah. In summary, Ron, I guess like I just want world peace, and then I do my word.
Awesome,
Excellent,
awesome.
great. Can I? Well, then, can I ask a question then?
Yes.
Of Tremonde. This is a human sexuality question. You also have to remember, folks, when we do the Pride Side chat with Tremonde, these questions don't have to be all about being gay, transgender, transsexual. I don't think we even say transsexual anymore. It doesn't have to be about that. It can be just a general sex question, because Tremonde, he's put his penis in a lot of places. So we want to make sure that we get a well-rounded response from him. Tremonde, here's my question. It's a burning question I have. As a
you
man,
should get a shot of penicillin.
but I'm pumped. Nicely done, Rons. That might be the funniest thing that you've said in.
Good one, Ron.
That might be the funniest thing you've said in a long time. But nice job, Tremonde. As a man, here's the thing. I like to see the Swan dress up in cute little outfits, right? And I like to see if I can convince her on my knees begging for her to do a little role playing. The issue that I've always had for years is, what can I do to look sexy for the Swan? And I have yet to come up with any ideas. You see, because even if I ask her, she's not going to give me an idea, of what a man can do to look good for a woman. Now, obviously, probably if you rolled around with a little bit of like a mild sticky substance like they use for Post-its, because it doesn't stick and it won't ruin it, and then you kind of rolled yourself in $100 bills, maybe that would make you sexy. But other than that, what else is a man to do to look hot for a woman along the same lines as a woman who's wearing like a sexy outfit for a man?
That's interesting. Like Swan, you don't have anything that you would like you desire to see him in?
Well, no, see, he was like, well, maybe I should get like some, like bedroom outfits. When you look online at the male outfits, like you can find tons of skanky nurse costumes and, slutty bunny and all the other whatever
For
women
men?
costumes, corset. No, for women.
That's what you're trying to say. Like, what?
I was
No,
going to
no,
see
for women.
when
If
Beaveman
you
has
look-
a-
Costumes, you can find all kinds of slutty nurse,
You can.
bunnies.
right.
They all
What about a
look-
slutty beaver?
No, they all, for all the women's ones, are like, oh, those are cute. When you look at it on a guy, I'm like, oh my God, they make me laugh because they're like, a G-string that I'm like, that's not attractive to me. Like that's not a
That's the
like.
question is what
So-
would be
I don't. I mean, that's
Would
what
you
I'm
like
saying.
him in like a pirate shirt that shows off his chest?
Is this your fantasy, Ron?
Well, don't turn this on me. This is your question, right? This is what we're trying to help the B-Man here, but don't turn it on me. I have a pirate
first of all,
shirt
I didn't
I
ask
picked
for
up.
any advice from Ron's listening audience. I asked for
Ron's
no
has a
advice
pirate
from
shirt
Ron.
if you
I
want
was
to buy
asking,
it, borrow
I was
it.
asking Tremande, who was in turn asking Swan questions to
You're
get
right.
more
You're
information. I
absolutely
did
right.
not ask Ron's for any advice in
You're
this area.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So
So-
Swan, you don't have any?
No, not really. Not. I mean, I don't think like that whole dress up thing doesn't do it for me like it does for him. But I mean, I guess I don't know. It's not the same.
You say not really. That indicates there's an indication.
why do you
that
say it's not
indicates
the
that there is
same?
something.
I mean, I don't feel like I dress up for him because he likes it, and like that wouldn't be my thing to do either. But I do it because he likes it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Why are we-
you know, see, you see, Swan is so arrogant that she feels like she doesn't need to do anything.
I don't. I'm like,
I'm like, it's been years, Swan. So yeah, it's been years. So maybe.
I mean, because like most women, like, and I should say most, like I know that women have like that fantasy of like liking men in uniforms. So they like men to show up in cop uniforms or firefighter uniforms, kind of like what you see with some strippers, right?
yeah, but
if
not
you
like
don't-
when you look online and you find you look for that stuff and you're like, it all looks like it should be in a porno. Not like
Yeah.
that's not.
Swan wants me to dress as a short order cook.
Yeah, make me some.
That would make her
tacos.
hot. She's like, oh yeah, some
Yeah.
burgers.
Oh yeah, if you can make a burger, oh yeah.
So
That'll do it.
Is there something that he can do that sparks
mean,
your sexual
Back in the
interest?
day when he used to wear his little military costume, get it? That was pretty hot.
So,
So-
B-Man, do you have any of your old military costumes around?
Of course. Yeah, and mine actually fit.
Hi-yo! Oh, Ron.
Oh,
I-
and they still have
Poor
the
Ron.
buttons. They still have buttons attached.
So then that could be one.
Possibly.
Anything else, Swan?
No, I mean we could. But what was the question? This was like Tremonde. What's hot for
Yeah.
Tremonde?
No,
Yeah.
my question
Not-
was, what is Tremonde's suggestions as a man? What
Oh, yeah,
is
there you go.
anything?
Yeah.
What are
'cause
your
why are we turning
suggestions,
around?
Tremonde?
Yeah.
I really think that it depends on both people. Like, one, what is the person comfortable with being in, but also what is the other person interested in? Because you don't want to keep showing up in something and they don't have no desire to see you in it. You know, like I'm a person, like I like different types of underwear on men, like jock straps and thongs and sheer boxers and stuff like that. But if you're with someone and they don't necessarily like you in it, then you're less likely to put those things on because it's like you don't even appreciate me in it, you know? So then what do? Wear them for yourself?
Yes. Because you feel good in them.
Yeah, but the thing is you want somebody else to want you to be in them, you know? Like
Yeah,
that's what
that's
you
what I keep
also
trying to
want
explain to
feel.
her. That's what I keep explaining to her. But she
Yeah.
doesn't
So
get it.
I can make myself feel good all day, but I don't want to do that all day, right? Like, you know, so it's just like I want to be wanted in these things, and I think it's kind of like cool when you have somebody who is like saying like let's explore stuff, you know, like let's go all out. It's me and you. There's no judgment. Let's see what we like. We try something, we don't like it, then we throw that out. We find something that we do like, then we put it in a drawer, you know. But it's just being able to explore that with somebody that you feel comfortable with, and if someone is, especially if your partner is coming to you and saying like this is something that I would like for us to engage in, I think you should engage in the conversation, and then if you need to set boundaries within that, set boundaries. But you should engage in the conversation to at least explore it and then see where that takes you, you know. But sometimes people get kind of cut off at those things, at having those conversations, because they feel like it's too much or it's going to make me look silly or what have you. And it's like, yo, it's just us. Like,
Exactly.
so that's how I look at it.
That's some solid advice, Tremonde. Solid advice.
Well done, Tremonde. Well done.
All right. Well, thank you, Tremonde.
You're welcome.
We totally appreciate. I totally appreciate the attention to detail you're carrying, you're sharing, and all those other fun things. And to Ron's, I appreciate you not giving me advice on what to wear, because he was going to say you should wear your dogie.
No, I would have never said
with
that.
no pants, just your dogie top.
No, I
Or just
I
your
don't
black
think I
belt.
ever would have
Just
said
wear
that.
your black belt.
However, if,
Black belt.
Just
You
wear
know
a
what?
black belt and then a tiny black belt on your penis.
however, I would have never said that. However, if that gets the swan going, maybe you should.
What if my penis is not a black belt? What if it's
Well, I think you should train with the swan until it is a black belt.
good plan? That's excellent advice, Ron. Excellent advice. All right. Well, a couple promotional things out there, folks. You will hear you will have heard our first commercial for Swiss Navy on today's podcast. We are planning a live stream. We got to nail down the dates. We're thinking that's going to be either next week or the following week. That will be at 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. at night. We haven't got that all nailed down yet, but we're going to have some promotions out there. Swan, would you like to talk about the promotions or anything in particular?
Well, Swiss Navy has given us some really cool products and some promo gear that we're going to give away via raffle style. I've got some
Raffle?
ideas. Not raffle, like audience participation.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, audience participation, yes.
All
and
right.
you can
And-
get the chance to win one.
And by that time, I'm assuming that everyone will have tried the Swiss Navy products. I've tried them. Swan's tried them. Tremonde's tried them. Ron's, have you tried your Swiss Navy products?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Yay!
I am very excited. I am so proud of the Rons. Excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. So we'll probably have a little bit of testimonial time on our live stream also, and that's going to be great. All right. So look forward to that. And as usual, you can always share our podcast with others. You can find us on Buzzsprout, the Slaptail Squad at buzzsprout.com. You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts. Obviously, you know this, but you can tell your friends that they can find us. Well, the most of our listeners are on the Apple Podcast app. We're on Spotify. We're on just about every podcast app you can think of. Amazon Music always posts us a week after we've put out our podcast, which is odd. I think maybe if you're a member of Amazon Music, you can get it right away. We also have a lot of listeners on iHeart Radio's podcast app. So hello, all of you listeners on iHeart Radio. Very, very glad for you to join our family, our Slaptail Nation, and our Slaptail Nation Army, and of course, the little known and not as highly respected Slaptail Nation Air Force, of which Ron's is the commander.
I appreciate the
Appreciate
promotion.
that as always. All right, so that is it for me. As always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for sharing. Don't slap comedians. All right, if you slap a comedian, full on expect to get your ass fucking handed to you by their crew of fellow comedians, because that's how it should be. All right,
We could be allies for comedians. We can offer to bitch slap back
I'm okay
for
with
them.
I'm telling you, just an FYI. If you are going to slap somebody, don't go for the face. Slap the ear. Cup your palm. Slap the ear. You'll rupture their eardrum. All right.
This advice is
just
only
a little
for
advice
comedians.
from the Beaveman. Just a little advice from the Beaveman. I've got better moves than that. All right. So adios, amooch fuckos.
Bye from the Swan.
Deuces.
And from the Rons, a.